Hey, what's up guys? So today I want to talk about some auction house strategies for buying and selling that will help you use the auction house a little bit more efficiently and get a little bit of better deal and help you sell your items a little bit more efficiently as well. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is buying items. So say you just purchased a large sum of gold or you sold a bunch of stuff and you got your gold now and you're looking to get an upgrade. You want to make sure you can get the best upgrade you can. So the first thing you do when you're looking in the auction house, or the first thing you never want to do when you're looking in the auction house, is put a max bid. Because if you put a max bid in for something, you're never going to see all the awesome items that are bid only. And probably around 50% of the time, the good deals that I get are on bid only items. So that's really important. The next thing I wanted to talk about, and another YouTuber named Kansas, he told me about this. It's a very helpful tip. A lot of you probably know this already, but let's say we're trying to look for an upgrade and we want to see how much damage it's actually going to give us. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to look for strength, attack speed. We'll just put in some values here. Alright, so we'll search for something like that and we can see all these ammies. We're looking for something. Let's ramp the strength up a little bit. Alright, so we have some of these and we're gonna look, how much damage do these things really give me? So we're gonna go ahead and slot a few of these in. Take a look. And we're like, okay, we got all of our amulets here. And the way you check these is once you have them all slotted into your chat like that, it'll say it's not a valid chat recipient. You go ahead and you join your game. You kill all the spiders or scorpions so you can get to town safely. A little bit of a blooper there, I guess. And then you can go ahead and you can check how much damage you would get from each one of these amulets. So I can go ahead and see, okay, that one over here gives me 13k, this one gives me 54k, 1.3k damage, 3.8k damage, only 400 damage. And as you can see, that's what you do, and you go through and look what's going to be the best value. So here, this would obviously be a very good option. It was a little more expensive on the auction house, but at least I know how much damage that's going to be giving me, how much life I'm going to lose, and that sort of thing. An important note on that is, say I was looking for a main hand or some pants, what I do is you go to your jeweler and you take out the sockets because you're gonna want to compare without any of the gems in there to see how much it'd be. So that's a very good tip, very useful. Probably a lot of you guys knew that, but if you didn't know that, that will probably help you guys out a ton. So that's very important. The next thing I want to talk about is getting to know your market. So the really important thing to do is when you're buying an item on the auction house or items on the auction house in general, you want to know the market of what you're trying to buy. So if a good deal comes up and it's just got posted, you know that it's a good deal and you can buy it right away without being too concerned about if that it really is a good deal or is it just too good to be true or something like that. So what I suggest is you search up the item you're looking to buy, especially if you're spending a large amount of gold. And you want to kind of monitor the prices on it over a few days and get to know the market a little bit before you jump in and just buy something out of the blue. It's really good to know what the value is of the item you're buying and that sort of thing. Another good thing about getting to know the market is items that are of higher value, like really high value top end items, are going to be the best to buy. You don't want to buy an item on the lower end that you might have to, in like maybe a couple weeks, you're going to want to upgrade it again. You're going to want to save as much gold as you can and upgrade that item to the best of your ability. Because that way, the higher level items, they're going to degrade in value a little bit lesser than the mid range and low range items. Because right now, constantly more and more items are getting put into the marketplace, and that's going to make the mid-range to low-range items aren't going to be worth as much, and over a couple weeks they can actually drop significantly in price. So you want to try to aim for the highest you can so you can get the best market value out of what you're buying. Now, the next thing you can do when you're looking for an item is to check both the gold money auction house and the real money auction house. Especially if you consider buying gold, you might want to just add that gold to your battle net balance. And then if you have a specific item you're looking for, like say if you're looking for a Mempo of Twilight, you can look at the ones on the gold auction house and the real money auction house. You can divide that by the price of the gold and find out what's going to really be the best value to buy it from. Sometimes the real money auction house, if you don't mind actually spending money on gear, is going to be the better option because people selling on that would rather have money in their pocket than gold in a virtual game. So that's kind of important to consider as well. Now we're going to talk about placing bids because bids can be a really good way to win auctions. So we're going to look at some stuff. Let's say I want to look at a new IK chest because I do want a new IK chest. We're going to look at that. We're going to put in the values that I want. I want at least like 160 strength and 225 vitality. So what we do is we kind of look, okay, we got some ones that are buyout only here. Let's take a look at how they are. All right, good. So let's pretend these were closer to when they're gonna be done. So what we do is I'd pull out my stopwatch. I'd actually have a timer on my phone, and I'd set this to say 14 minutes or 14 hours and 29 minutes. And so, or actually 28 minutes. And then I'd search, and as soon as that hit 28, I would go ahead and stop my watch. And then when I'm getting ready to place my bid, I'm going to know exactly when that auction house ends within the last 10 seconds. That's when you're going to place your bid. And when it goes to placing bids, you want to put in the highest amount that you want to pay because a lot of people are going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be bidding in the last 10 seconds, and you can easily get outbid if you don't bid enough. Now, it's important, really important, to make sure that the bid that you place is going to be the maximum that you want to pay, or at least close to the maximum. You don't want to win the item and be like, oh, I kind of think I might have bid a little bit too much. Make sure that's a value that you really want. And an important note is, if you place within the 5% bid, so if I went like this, it would automatically go up to the next value. If I had that much gold and I went to place my bid, there's obviously no bids placed on that one yet. Maybe this would be a better example. It would go ahead and as long as you bid within the 5% of that value, you will get a little bit of a refund. But if you bid over that amount, you won't get any refund. That's kind of something that they've changed. Used to be able to, you could proxy bid as much as you want. So if I went ahead and in the last 10 seconds, I bid 500 million gold on this and then it sold, I would get the refund for all that. But they have changed that, so you don't do that anymore. Put in the max amount of bid that you want and kind of be careful when you're bidding, but it can be a really good way to win auctions that way. So use your timer, figure out when the auction's going to end, and place your bid accordingly. I guess that's all I want to talk about there. And so we can talk about sniping as well. That's a really good way to snipe auctions, as you would call them. Another good way to snipe auctions is when they first get placed. If you knew the really value of all your items, like I said, get to know your market. Say this just got posted and was 1 day 12 hours and maybe it was at like 300,000, I'd be like holy, or 300 million, I'd be like holy crap, that's a hell of a deal. I'm buying it out right now. That's a steal. So kind of get to know that, kind of get to know your items, get to know the marketplace, and that will help you out a lot. And that also comes into flipping items. So I don't flip items that much. In fact, I hardly do it at all, but it's probably one of the most effective ways to gain gold in Diablo is to invest gold and flip it on something that you know is going to be worth more than it got posted for. This can be very easy to do with buyouts because if they just got posted and they're at a low amount, you can buy it out right away and pretty much instantly repost it for a higher value if you know it's going to sell. So that really comes down to knowing your market, knowing what's worth it, and you're going to want to do that with the higher end money. So flipping is kind of hard when you're at a lower level of gold. It's a little bit hard to do because usually the higher value items are going to be the best to flip for the most amount of profit. So keep that in mind. So now we're going to have to kind of talk about selling items. Now, when you sell items, and say I was going to look at all the buyouts on these, if I had an Immortal King's chest that was similar to this one, I would go, okay, well, maybe I'll put mine for 225 buyout and 225 bid. We'll go out just for buyouts for now. And you want to make it look appealing. You want people to see that auction and go, wow, that's a really good deal, and buy it. Because since items are constantly dropping in value, you're going to want to try to sell that as quick as you can. And sometimes undercutting a little bit is the best way to do that, even though that you might get a little bit less for your item. If it sells right away, that's always profit. It's always better to have gold in the bank rather than have a bunch of auctions sitting up on the auction house. So that's kind of really important when selling items. Another method for selling items is to do bid only. So bid only can be quite a good way of getting pretty much doing the same thing, undercutting a little bit, because typically bid items will sell slightly less than what they're worth. But if you have a popular item like a Mempo of Twilight or something with critical hit chance, and you know that a lot of people are going to be looking for these items, you could go ahead and put bid only, and chances are it's going to get bid up to the amount that it's worth. So bid only can be a very good option to sell some items. Although I don't do it too much, but considering I do bid on a lot of bid only items, I know that it's a very good strategy. And in the last 5 minutes, you see how much that bid goes up. So that can be a very good tactic as well. So I'm going to talk about reposting. Now, reposting items with buyouts can be a very effective way of kind of tricking your buyer into thinking that they're getting a good deal. So what you could do is see these are 65 million and people might look at them and go, oh, 21 hours left. No one's really been buying them. They must not be that good of a deal. But I could cancel those, send them to my stash, go ahead and put them up again. And I could put them for the same price, 60 million, 65 million. And just when people see that it is one day 12 hours or one day 11 hours, it automatically kind of clicks in their head that they think it's going to be a little bit of a deal if it just got posted. So reposting your items, even if you don't lower the buyout amount, can be really good to kind of tricking people into thinking that they're getting a little bit better of a deal than they are. So that can be kind of interesting way to post items, and it can be good to repost your items every once in a while, considering you don't lose anything from reposting. So that can be very beneficial. The next thing I want to talk about is choosing items with the highest value you have. So say you got a bunch of items, this is pretty obvious, but you're going to want to put your highest value items up on the auction house. So obviously that you just want the highest value items to sell because that's the way you're going to get the most gold. Pretty basic, but I just thought I'd mention it. So another thing to do is you want to try to put some items up on the real money auction house as well. Because, I mean, money's good and you can spend money on more gold, and maybe you want to put it in your PayPal, or maybe you just want to put it in your BattleNet balance and reinvest it in more items. But the thing it allows you to do, it allows you to get 10 more auctions. So if you can get 10 more auctions, you can sell a lot more stuff and potentially earn a lot more gold overnight than you would otherwise. So that's really important. The last thing I kind of want to talk about when it goes to selling and items in that is kind of investments. So when it comes to investments, Moldrin has a really good deal on investments. I'll actually link that to you guys, but I'll give you a few examples here. So in the recent, this obviously goes with patch notes a lot. So in some recent patch notes, or even blog notes that aren't confirmed, sometimes they'll say something that brimstones are going to be improved. So when brimstones are going to be improved, that means, well, they might go up in value in the next patch. So if I buy a bunch right now, they could go up like 100, 200%, and I could make a lot of gold. Now, the first people to see these blog notes and kind of cash out on these things can make a lot of gold this way, and doing investments with your gold can be a really good strategy to earning gold for almost little to no effort, but can be a lot of risk. And like I said, Boldrin has a really good video explaining all this, so I'll link you guys to that. I suggest that you guys check it out if you're looking into investing. Another example would be when patch 1.04 came out, they introduced Paragon levels. And so someone was obviously bright enough to think, well, what if rubies increase the amount of experience you got from Paragon levels in your helm? If I buy a bunch of rubies right now, they're going to skyrocket in price in the next patch when people realize that that gives them experience. Now, that was a little bit of a high risk for whoever did that because they didn't know for sure if rubies in your helm were going to affect how much Paragon experience you get because that was not confirmed in the patch notes. But he was able to read through the lines, make a good kind of strategy, and invest on that, hoping that they would go up. And even if they didn't, he wouldn't lose too much value because the gem price would be little to the same, but you would kind of minus your auction house cut and you lose 15% of your gold or whatever. But it can still be a very good strategy investment. So I'll link you guys to Muldrin's video down in the description. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. Just some buying and selling tactics that'll help you be more efficient on the auction house. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.